If you've been playing on the ladder on Pokemon TCG Online or Pokemon TCG Live, you'll know that Mew VMAX and Arceus VSTAR are very popular decks at the moment, and that's why this list featuring Lucario and Moltres from Kkurta and the Full Hill Standard 5 tournament on Limitless could potentially be a way to beat the meta. Lucario from Brilliant Stars is a very strong single prize attacker. It's a Stage 1 fighting type Pokemon with 120 HP, and it has Aura Sphere Volley for 2 fighting energy. It deals 10 damage, plus we discard all of the fighting energy from it, and we deal 60 damage for each fighting energy discarded that way. Very reminiscent of Charizard from, a long time ago now. I think it's even got the same ability, which is Roaring Resolve, which is very, very strong. It allows us to place 2 damage counters onto our Lucario, then search our deck for a fighting energy and attach it to this Pokemon. That means that every turn, as long as we're attaching once from hand and once with Roaring Resolve, we will deal at a minimum 130 damage. If we then attach a Choice Belt to that Lucario, we'll be dealing 160, or if we're attacking into an Arceus VSTAR, which is very popular at the moment, we'll be dealing 320 damage. That will be able to knock it out even if it has a big charm on it, which is a fantastic, good little neutral attacker. The issue though is that we don't necessarily have an attack for Mew on Lucario, which means we are going to be utilizing the Malevolent Charge Moltres, which has seen a lot of play recently. It's a dark type basic Pokemon with 120 HP, and Malevolent Charge means that when we play this Pokemon from our hand to the bench, we can attach 2 dark energy from our hand to this Pokemon. Then another attachment from hand deals 20 damage with Fiery Wrath, plus 50 more for each prize card that our opponent has taken. If Mew's taken 3 prizes, then we'll be dealing 170 damage, and we will be taking a knockout thanks to weakness. This card can also deal some massive damage in the late game, since we only have single prize attackers. Once your opponent has taken 5 prizes, you'll be able to deal a massive 270 damage, 300 if you have a Choice Belt attached. So very, very powerful attackers. We also have a Hitmonchan in this list. With Clean Hit, we can deal 20 plus 50 more damage if our opponent's active Pokemon is evolved. That means 70 damage onto Arceus, 140. We can potentially even deal 200 with Hitmonchan, which is a fantastic little single energy attacker, which we really, really like. And we also have Cinccino and Make Do, which not only can we can use this card to get more cards in our hand. Make Do discards a card from our hand and we draw an extra 2. We can also use Energy Assist to deal 40 damage and then put extra energy on our Pokemon on the bench. With Lucario in play, that can potentially get some very, very big numbers on Lucario. So good little attack from Cinccino as well. The rest of the deck is relatively self-explanatory. We have cards like Scoop Up Net to be able to get our single prize Pokemon out of the active, and 1 copy of Energy Recycler. We are going to be discarding a lot of energy with this deck, so we need to put them back in somehow. We also have Training Court to pick up energy out of the discard pile, and Klara to make our Moltres even more powerful. We can pick up 2 Dark Energy and a Moltres out of the discard, and then play them straight down. Overall, this list is a great deal of fun, very similar to a lot of single prize decks that have been floating around at the moment, but I think Lucario is super, super powerful. Let's take it on to the ladder and see if we can get ourselves a couple of games with it. Alright, time to get started, and we are up against Mew, which is fantastic for us. Means that we should be able to show off the strength of this deck in a matchup where we can get easy knockouts. Now, I'm going to discard my first Moltres here, which seems kind of counterintuitive, but it will end up being the better choice in the long run. We'll be able to play Klara to get that back. We'll get some Mincinos down, we'll attach an energy to the Riolu in the active, and then we'll pass the turn from there. We'll at least be able to get an attack off. Now, one issue that this deck can have is that when you are fighting up against Mew, your main attacker, Lucario, is going to deal 30 less damage every single time. Now, that's not necessarily the end of the world, but Mew having that fighting resistance can be quite awkward. So we definitely don't want that to happen. We've got a couple of crams going off here, at least one. Now discard 1 card and flip tails, so no extra cards for them. Interestingly enough, they've attached to the Mew in the active. So they might be looking for a Psychic Leap here to take the knockout on Riolu. They will need an Elisa's Sparkle though. Interesting that they didn't choose to go in with the Meloetta, but it's fair enough, they don't need to. They're going to go for another Genesect with Quick Ball, and now we're seeing our opponents setting themselves up, which is fair enough. They'll be able to draw a bunch of cards. Now, again, one of the best things about single prize decks up against Mew at the moment is, obviously, if you have a way to deal with a Mew VMAX in one shot, that's great. But lots of the time, Mew can only realistically attack with Meloetta maybe twice, right? Maybe twice. If they get 2 attacks off with Meloetta, they're doing okay. That's 2 knockouts. We'll take 2 knockouts as well. Then they need to take 4, and we only need to take 2. So that can be very, very strong. And it looks like here we are going to be given a prize for free. Lucario into the active. We'll be able to Roaring Resolve onto that to get an attachment. We can also use Cinccino here to draw some extra cards. So we'll Roaring Resolve first. We'll get that energy onto the active. And then we will hope that we draw some good cards off of this Cinccino here. We've kind of left ourselves with a little bit of a dud hand here. Another Level Ball's good. We can grab ourselves another Cinccino. We might want to just attach this energy to the Riolu on the bench, to be honest. I think that's probably better. And then we can Level Ball for the Cinccino, and next turn draw 4 cards. That seems fine. So we'll do that. We'll be able to Aura Sphere Volley here for 130. Minus 30 is 100. We'll take the knockout on that Meloetta and take a prize, which will get us into some more cards next turn at the very least. We can Cinccino for 4 here. I'd really like to see a supporter, obviously. But now we're into a spot where our opponent is going to be able to set up and take some knockouts. We probably can't knock out a Mew for a very long time. Mew VMAX is going to be very difficult for us to knock out. We need to try and knock out those Genesects on the bench if we can. Or at least half hit into a Mew VMAX where maybe they might not be able to use their Psychic Leap ability. At the late game, we'll be able to knock out Mew VMAXs easily because our Moltres will be able to do it in one shot. The second that they've taken 3 prizes, we will be able to win from there. But the difficulty is going to be trying to take those knockouts in the early parts of the game here. Notice that they're dealing 320 damage there with Max Miracle. That's an incredibly high amount. We've actually found ourselves another fighting energy here. We might just make do and get rid of this Level Ball. We'll see what comes up. Hey, that's a brilliant set of 3 cards. I'm going to attach to the active Riolu. We're just going to hit this Mew as hard as we can, and we will research, hopefully, into the Lucario, which we've found. We'll throw that down, and we also have another Cinccino that we can use as well. I don't mind doing that. I think we do that before we Roaring Resolve. Get rid of the the third Cinccino that's in our hand. We don't really need that. We can Roaring Resolve here. Get ourselves another Fighting Energy into the old Lucario in the active. Then we're going to be dealing, what, 190 damage? Minus 30. We might go for the old Training Court play. Just grab the energy out now whilst we can. We can at least get that onto the Riolu next turn. We'll attack. It's only going to deal 160, but that's at least a 2-hit. So if our opponent doesn't find the basic Mew to Psychic Leap, then we will be able to take the knockout next turn. If they do Psychic Leap, though, they won't even need a modifier. We are weak to Psychic, so Psychic Leap will do the job. They're actually going to Escape Rope here into the Genesect. So they obviously have another switch in hand. The question, though, is do they have access to that Mew? If they have Mew and can Psychic Leap, then that's not great. Not great for us at all. But you know what? If they can't do that, then we're pretty good. Hey, they've retreated into Genesect. Oh, they're going to Escape Rope again. Okay, well, you can just have the Lucario back, I suppose. They're just throwing away as many cards as they can to try and draw into this Mew. You would think that's their play. If they do have that, then that's good for them. If they don't, well, I mean, that's bad, isn't it? Elisa's Sparkle. We're going to see an Elisa's Sparkle onto a Genesect and a Mew by the looks of things. Oh, nope, just one onto the Genesect. Fair enough. We got one more card to draw. Am I going to be given a chance to knock this Mew VMAX out? They're going into the Genesect with the attack. Oh my gosh, okay. 2 more cards. 2 more cards for this Genesect. There's the Mew. Okay. Alrighty then. It's a little bit disappointing. Now they will be able to Psychic Leap, but that's okay. We were expecting them to be able to do it, and they've used a lot of resources to try and get there. So pretty happy with that. There's a Psychic Leap. dealing 200 damage. Jeez, that's a lot. Weakness can create some scenarios where things get very awkward. But hey, they're promoting a Genesect here, and with Raihan in hand, we can actually take a knockout on this Genesect, which is fantastic. So I'm really liking the situation that we're in here. We're going to throw the Lucario into the active. We are also going to... Let's have a think. What's the best way to go about this here? Let's just make do first. I think make do first is better. We have a Choice Belt and 3 Dark Energies here. We have 1 Moltres left. 4 Fighting Energy in the discard pile. Maybe we play down this Minccino and then go for our next make do. We can get rid of the Dark Energy. We don't need that. And then drawing into the Klara and the Scoop Up Net. Very, very big couple of cards there. Let's have a think. What is our best play? Obviously, taking the knockout on the Genesect is good, but I'm thinking into next turn. The thing is, Mew can never manipulate our hands. So if we Raihan here, whatever card we choose to keep, we get to keep forever. I'm liking access to... maybe Training Court, actually. Get energies back. Because then we can guarantee... I mean, we've already got the energy in hand, but I think it's fine. We'll play the Training Court down now, and then we will grab an energy out. I think it's probably best to go for a Fighting Energy. We can Roaring Resolve. We know we have at least 1 more Fighting Energy in the deck, so we can grab that with Roaring Resolve. An attachment here will take us up to 190, and then we can take 2 prizes with our Lucario. Now we have 3 prizes to win the game. 3 prizes to win the game, and I'm thinking we are more likely than our opponent to get in and take those knockouts next. Now, the issue is we don't have a Riolu on the bench, so we are 100% reliant here on our opponent not removing the Mew VMAX from play. Looks like they're actually gearing up for an attack with Genesect, which is interesting, to say the least. Very interesting. They're going to Ultra Ball here, probably going for the Mew VMAX, I think. They'll draw a few cards. No, they're going to go for Meloetta. Okay, that's interesting. This is an interesting series of things that have happened. Got 1 card in hand. Oh, it's the energy. They drew into the energy. That's why they couldn't get it. Okay, fair enough. Well, this is actually really interesting here now because all of their Fusion Strike energy are in play and they cannot attach another to get an attack off with Meloetta this turn. They have to attack with the Genesect. I actually think we're going to be pretty close to being able to win this game. In fact, I'd say it's almost guaranteed. Genesect will draw 3 more cards here. We have the Scoop Up Net to get the Cinccino out of the active. We've got the Klara to get the Moltres. So we should be able to take this knockout here, because Moltres will do 5, 10, 15, plus an extra bit, plus the Choice Belt. It's plenty to knock out a Genesect. Going to be doing, what, 210, I think? So that will knock out the Genesect easily. And we've top-decked into Riolu, so that's really good. Let's just start off, though, by using Klara. We'll just start off by using Klara. We'll do both. We'll get 2 Pokemon and 2 energy from the discard. I'll grab Lucario and Moltres, since we top-decked that Riolu. And then we will grab a Fighting and a Dark Energy as well. We can throw the Moltres down, attach 2 Dark Energies to it. And then we can attach the 3rd Dark from hand, play down the Riolu, and then we can start making do. And to be honest, we're at the point now where we've got all the cards, really, that we need. I'm going to discard a Fighting Energy with the Cinccino. Then we can play down a new Cinccino from hand. We can scoop up the active. And now I think we probably promote our Moltres ready for the knockout. We can start with a 3rd Minccino going down. We'll make do. We'll get rid of one of these Choice Belts because we only need 2 to finish this game off. And that Klara is massive. Okay, let's get rid of the research. We don't need that. That Klara is huge, ladies and gents. Absolutely massive. Okay, let's level ball. There's nothing left in our deck. We've got Boss's Orders. Scoop Up Net is in there as well. So we are looking pretty good. This has 170. Do we even need to attach? 5, 10, 15. I don't think we even need to attach the Choice Belt here. We can just attack into this Genesect for 170. The extra 20 damage from their own stadium, actually, meaning that we need to use one card less to take the knockout. Alright, so we are in a really strong position here. Really, really strong. If our opponent puts a Mew VMAX in the active and attacks with it, which is probably their most reasonable choice, all we need to do is get access to Scoop Up Net to win the game. That'll move our Cinccinos in and out of the active. We'll be able to draw 7 cards with Research and 6 with Minccino and Cinccino, so we should be able to draw every card in our deck. The only thing we need to do is make sure that that training court stays in play so that we can get access to a second Moltres. Getting that out of the prizes was really, really big, and the third energy can be a fighting, so we can just attach a fighting, that's not a problem. Okay, so, and even if that doesn't happen, we can still potentially get a knockout with Lucario and Boss's Orders. We just boss up the Meloetta or the Oricorio, and we win the game from there as well. So, we should have plenty of opportunities to win here. This is the best deck in the format that we're playing against, and in theory, provided of course that everything goes correct, we should be able to win this one. Okay, there's a boss. So now we can get a knockout with the Boss's Orders if we want to. So the question becomes, do we go for the boss or just the Scoop Up? To be honest, I think the Scoop Up Net is just flat out guaranteed. I don't think that we ever whiff it here. So all we need to do is make sure that we play this in an intelligent manner, and we should never lose. We should never lose, I say. Let's make do. We'll get rid of the Cynthia's Ambition. We're not going to be playing that. There's the Dark Energy. Let's make do again. Actually, what we should do is we should Quick Ball. I don't think there's anything to Quick Ball, but... Oh, we can grab the Hitmonchan out. That's even better. Okay, well, there's 5 cards left. We might not even need to use... our research here. There's a Raihan, so the Raihan will probably do the job as well. That guarantees it, because we can attach the 2 energies to the Moltres, and then we should be fine, because we can Raihan for the Scoop Up Net. Yeah, so we win the game here. We'll be able to play the Moltres down. We then... Yeah, we can definitely play Raihan, right? We can get the energy. We'll Raihan onto the benched Moltres. We can grab the Scoop Up Net now, which is guaranteed. And we can grab that Cinccino out of the active. Moltres goes there. Choice Belt goes there. Win the game. They concede. Mew VMAX gets beaten by a single prize deck. So a pretty grim start here for us. We're looking up. We're seeing Duraludon. This is going to be a little bit difficult. A good thing for us, though, and what actually means it's probably not as difficult as I'm making it out to be, we have all single prize attackers. We have all 100% basic energies attackers. We have fighting attackers as well. Arceus is in this deck. I've just gone, oh my god, Duraludon's going to be really tough too. I should probably be able to beat Duraludon here. I would say that's probably an easy enough thing to do. So maybe we'll see Lucario taking some knockouts on some Arceuses here. Our opponent going for single strike mustard straight up. Magikarp 1997 going for the mustard on turn 1 perhaps. Do they have it? Ultra Ball gets rid of 2 cards. Grabbing the Arceus out, fair enough. If they have a Quick Ball in their hand, or 2 quick playable cards, Big Charm's one of them, they could go for the mustard here. They're going to switch into the Arceus. They're going to get a turn 1 mustard. That is incredible. They'll search their deck for a Duraludon VMAX here, and then draw 5 cards. That's a great start. But I mean, it provides us with 2 prizes. All we need to do now is get access to a switching card. We need a Scoop Up Net. That would be great. Let's grab an energy for our Lucario. We're ready to take a knockout on Arceus now. We will Level Ball for our Cinccino. Then we will put that Cinccino in play. We'll put it in the active, because if we get the Scoop Up Net, we can use it again. And we will make do. We'll get rid of the Lucario here. We've found a Riolu. That's great. Oh, we've got an energy. I can just retreat. What am I talking about? Sorry. We retreat. We can manually retreat in this deck, of course. Oh my goodness. An Aura Sphere Volley will only deal 130, but because Arceus is weak, 260 damage, we can get 2 prizes. That is pretty good. Also, we can't be knocked out by our opponent next turn. They don't have another Arceus on the bench. They won't be able to easily accelerate to it. And I don't think Duraludon has a lot of ways to power itself up outside of Arceus. So, our opponent's desperation to get that big Duraludon VMAX in play turn 1 with Rapid Strike Mustard might actually be their undoing here. We've got Quick Ball, we've got Double Cinccino, Training Court, Choice Belt, we've got all the cards that we need to put on a good showing here to get a solid attack off onto one of these Duraludons. Only thing that we're really worried about now is the fact that our opponent can very easily heal themselves. So that would be a bit of a pain. Also, Marnie exists, so I should never have spoken about how good my hand was, because Marnie exists. And now I don't get to play with it anymore. Goodbye, hand. This is almost a better hand, to be honest. Now it's definitely a better hand. Do we want to just boss knock out if we can make do ourselves, actually we should probably, no, that's fine. We're going to make do ourselves into if we make do into an energy here, a fighting energy, boss is a better play. It's Roaring Resolve. Probably should have done that first. Grab an energy. We can Energy Recycler if we want to. We can Scoop Up Net the Cinccino, which is definitely going to happen. So we'll play that down. We'll play the Cinccino back down. Let's have a think here. Let's have a think. What's the least reliable card in our hand? The card that we need the least. Let's make do and get rid of the... Oh my gosh. Probably just the band. We don't really need it. Oh, we've missed the cards. Okay, so now what do we do? Now what do we do? We could play down all of our Pokemon and then Cynthia, or we could just boss. I think just bossing is fine. In fact, I'm just gonna boss the other Duraludon. Ask our friend what they're gonna do about that. What would you like to do about our other Duraludon being in play? What's the go for that one? Unfortunately, we don't get to knock out on the Arceus, so they can go for the VSTAR and search 2 cards. But if they do that and they have to use 1 card to get a switch, then I'm happy with that, frankly. I don't mind if they waste one of their VSTAR search cards for a switch. That actually sounds pretty good. So we're going to have to sit back here and hope for the best. Looks like they've got nothing to do, so we are looking solid. We'll throw down the Cinccino here, and we'll Roaring Resolve, obviously. We'll be able to get the energy onto us now that way. So we're definitely attacking this turn. With a Choice Belt as well, we'll be half-hitting this Duraludon. Let's make do, though. We probably don't need the Moltres right now. Klara's a pretty good card to draw into there. I'm pretty happy with that one. We might actually just play it, to be brutally honest. We'll do both here. Grab the Lucario and the Moltres. And then we can grab, what, like, double dark? That seems fine. Oh, maybe just a fighting. We'll get a fighting as well. We'll live a little and grab a fighting too. Then we can chuck down the Moltres. We can get double energy attachment onto that, ready for our next turn. We can evolve into another Lucario. We can attach as well. We can Roaring Resolve. Looking pretty good. There's not that many energy left in the deck, but we do have Energy Recycler here. Do I like the attachment on the active or the bench? I think the active is fine. It's just Aura Sphere Volley now. We'll deal 190 damage to this Duraludon. So half hit that. We'll hold the rest of our cards. Next turn, we should be able to get a knockout on that Duraludon, especially if they can't get out of the active like they didn't last turn. And if we do that, then the game is almost won. And our opponent is yet to take an attack, which is good. Although, to be fair, if they had attacked every turn that we had, then they would be they'd be pretty much in the same position that we're in. So we will throw all of these energies back into the deck with Energy Recycler. Now we've top decked into Research, so we may as well. We'll chuck the Choice Belt, down, and then we can Roaring Resolve. We'll do that before we use our Research, so we can guarantee that we don't just draw into all of our energy. And then we will Research. We'll see what we can find. I forgot to use Aura Sphere Volley with, not Aura Sphere Volley, Roaring Resolve with my Lucario, but that's okay. We are going to need to find, a fighting energy here. It's probably just better to make do anyway, so let's do that. We'll get rid of the Cinccino. Scoop Up Net's fine. It's not the card that I wanted to draw into, but It is okay by me. Actually, this is smart. Okay, we're going to Roaring Resolve onto the active now. I've got it. This is the way that we're going to get a knockout. Roaring Resolve onto the active. Then we'll Scoop Up Net the Lucario in the active, which will discard the Fighting Energy. We can throw the Lucario into the active. We can play down the Training Court. We can Training Court for the Fighting Energy, attach the Fighting Energy to the active, and then take a knockout on the Duraludon. The Big Charm doesn't matter because we've got the Choice Belt, 220 damage, knocks it out. We take 3 prizes, and now we've got a pretty solid setup. The worst part of our setup at the moment is that we don't actually have a knockout on the Arceus. We can't KO the Duraludon this turn, but that's okay. Our opponents conceded. They've decided enough's enough. Lucario and Moltres busted deck. Now, who'd have thought that beating the top meta decks would be that easy? These guys over here would. They always support the channel. Thank you to the members. If you want to become one, there's a link down below. You can do all that good stuff. But most importantly, if you're looking to play another really cool single prize deck, this one here, this Charizard list is insane. It's very, very similar to our Lucario. Can hit massive damage. Definitely worth looking at if you're looking for a single prize deck that you can pick up relatively cheaply on PTCGO. Thanks everyone for coming past, and I'll see you next time for more from the Sableyes. Bye.